side, we're looking at the main base of the Shield of Fire, the most successful Protoss of the Legacy of the Void era. It is Stats. I gotta say, Todd, last year I was so certain that Stats was gonna win IEM at one point. Like in the beginning of the tournament, I was like, Sero's gonna do it, man. Sero's gonna do it. Sero's just winning everything. Then Sero obviously lost in the quarterfinals against Su back then. Going into the final, I remember looking at the cast. I think it was Maynard as well. And I was like, man, I'm afraid this is going to be a bad finals, guys. Like, I think Stats is just going to kind of own him. And then after the first two games, Stats was up 2-0. I was like, yep, this is actually going to be a 4-0 or 4-1. And then obviously Su just made a magical comeback, somehow turned everything around, and finally did not finish second, but won the entire thing. And everybody was happy for Su. But on the other end, I was like, man, poor Stats. He's also ending as runner-up very often. Of course, he won a couple tournaments, so we feel less bad for him. But that was the second time he took second place at IEM Katowice. And even at first finals he had 3 years ago against TY.
It felt like he was kind of like the new runner-up specialist, or like becoming it, which you don't really want. Like, as happy as you are to get into finals, finishing second so many times in a row, like you need to get that championship eventually and get the big bucks that comes with it. And all the fame.
Stats is going to scout pretty early this game because he's like, you know what, as is as crazy as they told me he was going to be, I'm probably going to just scout and try to play this as safe as possible. And even if it seems like it's a normal game, I'm going to keep on scouting. This seems like a 3-gate robo opening by Haas, even though he's opening up with the depths. And maybe it's proxy Stargate? Is that possible, Tom?
Yeah, I mean, it has.
No, maybe.
DTs out on the map is possible with this guy.
He's actually just going to warp in the pylon for now and not do anything else with it.
You know, we always mention about how against Haz you need to play like very specific to him, scout a lot and stuff, but it's so easy to kind of go into autopilot and then just kind of like in the game number one, right? If your stats, you just keep making probes, you're like, I'm going to be fine and stuff. You don't really see what's coming for 1 second and then you lose, so.
I just want to point out that Has opened up double or adapt, and I was like, well, it's not the most standard thing, but there's still quite a few Protoss players do it, and I obviously expect someone like Has to do it, but he cancelled both adapts, and then he's like, no, you know what I'm going to do instead? I'm going to go Stalker Sentry, and now warps in the Stargate at home. Alright, so maybe he has a little indecisive there as well, not exactly sure how he wants to play this. There's no shield battery yet. There's a lot more micro potential in 2 Stalkers than there is in a Stalker Sentry. I do like the very early battery there by Haas.
I think that's why, yeah. Because he canceled those units, getting the Stargate a little bit earlier. So he's going to rely a lot on the Stargates doing stuff here. You mentioned it earlier, he had this one game against Tyr where he was playing also with Stargates and kind of overextended with the energy, like using everything across the map, then died to the counterattack. To be fair, especially if you have a high Phoenix count, that's not super likely to happen very often, but...
I wonder if it's Phoenix or Oracle. Okay, he's gonna go Phoenix instead. Whenever Has goes Phoenixes, and I'm always like, is this just to harass, or is this also going to set up some sort of a timing attack, right? Because Phoenixes can be very useful in picking off sentries. Phoenix deal double damage against a sentry, so even if a sentry is near a shield battery, if you have 4 Phoenixes, which I know is quite a bit, you can still lift and kill it very quickly with 3 other Phoenix, and if they are not near a shield battery, well, then I say you can even dive in with just 3 Phoenixes, because just 2 Phoenix shooting at a sentry picks it off very, very quickly.
So Stats, upon realizing it's Phoenix, goes for a Forge here. He's going to want to start upgrading his units pretty fast.
The scary thing here, though, is that in general, whenever you see your opponent's going to go Phoenix, you're like, well, I'll just build a lot of probes, right? Because it's inevitable that I'm going to lose a couple probes here and there, and that sucks. But the right way to deal with this is just to build a lot of probes and make sure that you don't get all in. But obviously, building a lot of probes after what happened in Game 1, where Stats was already caught off guard, that is scary. That's a quick Twilight as well. What is this, Has? He has a robo too, right, Has? I'm not crazy. So he's getting all the tech. What do you think it's going to be? Like Zealot Charge or something? Or
he's keeping his options open. Maybe he's waiting to scout first before he properly decides what he goes into.
As busy as we are, like theory crafting over here, Has is down 8 workers. That's a few too many workers to normally be down. He's going to shade in with 2 adapts. He's going to pick up a couple of probes here. The Phoenix is going to pick up a couple of probes as well. And well, Todd, he was down 8 workers. Now he's down 2 workers.
Yeah, nicely done. That was very important for him to do that, because if you let Stats get ahead by this many walkers at this stage in the game, it's going to be pretty tough for you to keep up, or even just to catch up even.
So it's not going to be Charge, it's going to be Glaives, and this is obviously setting up for an all-in to some degree. There are some moments where you can transition after it, but most of the time, when you see Resonating Glaives in this matchup, it's for an all-in. The ideal unit you want to have as stats is an Archon. Like one Archon and a Warp Prism near shield batteries, that is the absolute sweet baby dream for a Protoss player against Glaives all-in. But, as we all know, it's kind of hard to get an Archon out early on.
And I think Stats is yet again counting on the Stats to overmake probes and maybe not have enough units whenever he's going to go for the attack. Like we see he's getting a ton of units. He's cutting probes on 34 against the 41 of Stats, and Stats is still making probes 2 by 2. Those Phoenixes have shut down the scouting a lot, so...
Stats needs batteries, and I think maybe ideally one cannon, because he has a Forge, he's getting +1, he will have his own Resonating Glaives eventually as well. I think if Stats gets like 1 cannon and 2 extra batteries in his natural, he's always going to be okay. But I'm not sure if he's going to do that, then it might become a little bit risky. But army supply though, things look quite good for Stats.
Here comes the Scout. Sees the saturation in Maybe, sees the gateways.
Sees there are no units.
Yeah, he's gonna see in the expo that there is none of the gases taken right now.
I love it. You see, there's not 2 batteries in a cannon. I love it.
He needs more units though. It's
2 cannons even.
It's not too bad to be honest right now. 39 supply in army for Stats, 44 for Has, but those Glaives, they're very scary at this stage of the game. +1 finish for Stats, that's pretty good for him.
Here we go, lift the Immortal. You gotta lift the Immortal with the Phoenixes, I think. He's gonna go for sentries instead.
Oh, the Immortal? Oh, he loses that without picking it up. The Phoenixes took a very long time here before they started to do stuff.
Wow, has already lost both Immortals. He did not try to save them at all with the Warp Prism. Even the Warp Prism goes down. The cannons have finished up top. It's a disaster. It's just not going well at all. Pretty much everything that could have gone wrong there for Has went wrong.
Oh, and he actually made a building up there to block off these Adepts from going inside of the main base. Has already lost so much Stats with a fantastic defense. This is what we expect from him. There was a misstep in game number 1, but after that,